joining us right now. We're 3 weeks away from opening day. He does a tremendous job covering the Phillies for the Inquirer. You should experience the new look of Inquirer Sports, where fans can read, watch, and listen to their favorite reporters and columnists. Go to Inquirer.com/sports. Mr. Scott Lauber on the Comcast Business Hotline. How are you today, Scott?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing well. Thanks so much for coming on. Let's start with this new thing with Bryce Harper, where he says that had the Phillies been interested in signing Pete Alonso, he would have moved to the outfield. Number one, do you believe that he would have made that move this year? And if so, if in some world in the future, if the Phillies were to go after, let's say, Vlad Jr., is there a possibility, in your opinion, that Harper would make a move like that?
So I'll take you back to November, general managers meetings, and I asked Dave Dombrowski, would the Phillies consider moving Harper back to the outfield? And the reason for my question was looking around at, the landscape, that, there was Alonso, Christian Walker was on the free agent market. There were some some intriguing first base options out there. There were far fewer outfield options that were equally intriguing. I think probably, once Juan Soto came off the board and they were never going to bid for Soto, or at least not to the level the Mets and Yankees did, there really wasn't a whole lot there. Kyle Tucker got traded by the Astros to the Cubs. He was probably the next best outfielder to move in the offseason. So I thought, okay, well, other than looking at left field and center field, which is a total wasteland on the market, center field was, would they consider doing something like moving Harper back to the outfield? And Dombrowski didn't even waver in saying no. They viewed him as a first baseman right now. That's where they wanted to keep him. So I have no doubt that, Bryce, knowing him and knowing how his mind works and how he follows the offseason pretty closely, probably looked around and thought the same thing that I did, which was that there were some first base options that looked interesting. And I have no doubt that he called and let them know that, hey, just so you guys know, I'm open to moving back out to the outfield if it helps us get another bat. And I think they probably said kind of what they said when I asked the question, which was, sort of thanks but no thanks. Like, we appreciate that you're willing to be flexible, but we really like keeping you where you are right now. And maybe it's the right call. I mean, he is now 32. He wants to play another 10 years. He's got 7 more years at least under contract with the Phillies. And, he's probably longevity-wise better suited to do that at first base. But it is interesting, and I have no doubt that he was willing to do something if it would open up another door to them. But I don't think they were interested in that. And, I don't think it progressed any further than that because, he never had to do anything more serious than just sort of say, hey, look, I'm willing.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the starting rotation. Number one, I think they can match up with anybody in Major League Baseball. But right now, I think there's a little bit of a numbers game going on. And what do you believe is going to happen with Taijuan Walker?
It's a great question. And the thing is, right, it's 3 weeks still until opening day. And Ricky, that's like an eternity in baseball. So somebody gets hurt, either with the Phillies or somewhere else, and it might open up an opportunity for him either here or somewhere else. But, I think they got to get through. First of all, he's got to keep pitching well. And I think that underscores everything else that, any other possibility that we're about to talk about is that he's got to keep pitching well. If he pitches like he did his last time out with the velocity on his fastball and the separation between the fastball and the split is as good as it was, and he looks like he's sort of, back to at least.
Phone issue there with Scott. Go ahead and put him on hold if you can and see. Oh, he's gone?
He's gone.
No, I think he's still there. But, I have to.
Yeah, you have to probably drop him and go through the whole complicated
process again.
Calling him back.
Look at that.
So
work.
Let's address the Harper thing while we call it.
He kind of had the same idea that I did, that John Middleton was not really in the mood for it.
And also, but it also seems like the Neither was Dombrowski.
Yeah, I just think they had their talks. Dave Dombrowski has been given a lot of money since he has gotten here. Is that that's? I think that's a statement you could go over and go look at the money that the Phillies have spent. They've spent their money, but when you sit back and kind of look, were they in the mode to go again? Probably not.
Yes. Let's go back to Scott, who was answering about Taijuan Walker. The last thing we heard you say was he has to continue to pitch well, and that and separation between the fastball and the split.
Yeah, good. I wasn't talking to myself for too long there.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that underscores everything else. He's got to keep pitching well, because if he doesn't, then he's worth nothing to anybody. So, if he keeps pitching well over the next 3 weeks, if the Phillies' rotation remains healthy, if they have bumps, speed bumps or injuries or anything like that, then yeah, I agree. He's facing a bit of a numbers game, and then they have to ask themselves the question, if they're going to have to pick up a sizable amount of the money in order to trade him, is he more valuable to them on the roster as a long man out of the bullpen and starter insurance, or can they move him and get something else that they might need while still probably having to pick up a large portion of the money? So a lot of times still to play out here. I can foresee a situation where somebody on another, somebody else goes down on another team, and another team's looking for starting pitching, and if he's pitching well, maybe they have a match. But long way to go from here to even March 24th when camp breaks. So we'll see how the next 2-3 weeks play out.
We're speaking with Scott Lauber. He does a tremendous job covering the Phillies for the Inquirer. So the lineup today: Turner, Harper, Bohm, Schwarber, Castellanos, Kepler, Romuto, Stott, Marsh. Do you believe, as of now, that that's their plan for that to be the opening day lineup?
Yeah, that was my first reaction when I saw it today was, boy, that looks like a potential opening day lineup. And, I think they're going to keep tweaking. They're going to keep experimenting. But you've seen every time Turner has played, he's batted leadoff. Today I think was the second time. I could be wrong about this, but I believe it was the second time that Turner and Schwarber were in the lineup together. The first time, I think Schwarber batted second. Today, Schwarber's batting fourth. I think Thompson would prefer Harper to bat second in a scenario where Turner bats first. And then he can still split the lefties, batting them second and fourth with Bohm in the middle. So, yeah, that looks to me like a potential opening day lineup there. And I think if they like the way that looks, maybe that's how they start and go from there. So what'll be interesting to me is more the lower in the lineup, because like what they did today was they alternated right, left throughout pretty much, right? And, Kepler hitting sixth and JT hitting seventh. And then you've got Marsh hitting eighth.
They went left to left at the bottom. They went Stott Marsh.
Marsh at the bottom.
Yeah, they went left at the bottom.
So left, eight. Sorry about that. Yeah, left, 8-9. So alternating until 8-9, and they may face Mackenzie Gore. I don't know I haven't heard if the Nationals have named their starter, but opening day starter. But I think it would be Mackenzie Gore. He's lefty. He's a lefty. That'll be a test right away of whether or not Brandon Marsh. How many opportunities Brandon Marsh is going to get to face lefties. Is he in there against the lefty on opening day? So I'm really curious to see what they do at the bottom, but I think that top looks like it could be a potential top.
Yeah, and then you look at the bullpen. I think this bullpen is pretty good. I just want to get your thoughts on top to bottom of the bullpen, what they look like this year.
Yeah, I think they look pretty good too. I've wondered, I've written whether they're one pitcher short, only because, the math doesn't add up, right? They lost Hoffman and Estevez. They added Romano. I know they added Ross. Now, if Ross is going to factor into kind of that middle to late, then they don't have a numbers issue. Then they are even. So I don't know. I mean, Ricky, as well as anyone, right? I think the bullpen's always fluid. So I'm hesitant to sort of say, they look like they're set, because then the next thing you know, you're in June and you're looking for a reliever before the deadline. So they've gotten a reliever at 3 of the 4 deadlines that Dombrowski's been in charge here. Ian Kennedy, David Robertson, and then last year Estevez. So if I had to bet, I bet they'd be in the market for a reliever again this year. But I do think that they're going to give Kerkering a larger role. I do think that they think Romano is going to bounce back from his injuries last year. And if those two things happen, if Kerkering can handle that responsibility, and if Romano bounces back, then they look pretty good from the right side. Alvarado has looked real good so far this spring from the left side. He's in better shape. And Strom, is a veteran guy who had a great year last year, and I think they think can get righties and lefties out. So, those four look pretty good. And now the question is, do they need another guy back there, or are they all set?
Well, Scott, we really appreciate you spending some time with us. We're getting close to opening day, 3 weeks away. Appreciate the time, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, you should read everything that Scott does at Inquirer.com/sports. Does a great job covering the Phillies. So Harper, he believes that offer was real, because there was some cynics saying, oh, he's full of it. He wasn't really going to do it. The Phillies weren't interested in. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. If you want more of this content, make sure you like and subscribe. And you can do that kind of over here if you want more of the best show ever.